Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are dealing with a real life situation on site. You guys know on this channel you get the real deal. And you guys about to see, before I jump into why I was building not on a backdrop, which I rarely ever do. You guys know most of the time I build on the backdrop, but right now we couldn't. And I want to know from artists to artists, what do you guys do? I don't know if you guys do this, but when a client reach out and they let me know the backdrop they're using or the props they're using, I always give them my recommended size garland that they should possibly get. Based off, other garlands I've done in the past and going back and be able to calculate how many, clusters I used and how big the garland was. I typically use that as a reference to when I speak to new clients. Okay, based on this prop you want, you probably need maybe around 20 feet, 25 feet, 30 feet, whatever the case may be. But if the clients say, no, I don't want 20 feet, or I don't want 30 feet, and you know that the backdrop may need at least 25, 30 feet, and they want the smallest garland you can offer, what do you do? What do you do? So this is where we at today, and I am building right now on the ground because the backdrop was not done. We had an hour and a half to set up. The backdrop took maybe an hour and 10 minutes of that time. The client was putting it together. So at that time, as time was moving along, I just knew, okay, I have to start doing something because I'm running out of time that I can't do nothing about. So I started to build on the ground, which is, not my favorite thing to do because I am a visual person and I like my garland to be up. I like to build wise up, and me stepping back, looking at it and stepping back. This is probably like another reason why I don't use fishing line, because I honestly, I don't know what I'm doing when I'm using it. I don't know what is looking like. I need it to go up for me to visually see what's going on. So I'm building on the ground. I'm trying to do as much as I can before I go start using the backdrop, which is now. So this is the backdrop they had. The sides was not tackled down, so the sequence walls on the side was not attached to the frame. The framework, the backdrop itself, the stand was not that sturdy. And I was trying to get some of this information from the client beforehand because I knew it was probably going to be a little bit of DIY-ish. And I was trying to ask, and I wasn't receiving responses on what kind of stand he was using, because I would have offered my stand, of course, at a rental, or just let them know what kind of problems they may have if not using a proper stand, especially with a sequence wall, because you guys know the sequence walls are very heavy, and this was pretty big. So this was, I believe, was a 10 by 10, she said. I don't think it was end up being 10 feet in height. I think it ended up being 8 feet in height. But still, the backdrop itself, it was a lot going on, especially with the sides not being tackled down and connected to the pole. So the balloons kept pushing the right side to the back. And at that point, it wasn't really much I can do. The only thing, and that's the only thing when you work with these DIY setups sometimes, is that as a creative, I'm now not even focusing on my work and trying to give you the best. And the client was okay. They was like, I want the 18 foot. That's my smallest garland I offer, which is around $450 in pricing for 3 colors, flat. And they didn't care. They just wanted the 18 foot. And then they just said, you can just do it on one side, kind of thing. But when it comes to dealing with a DIY, backdrop or something like that, it's something that's not as sturdy. I can no longer focus on my work that much. Like when I'm attaching each cluster or quad, I'm thinking please don't let this backdrop fall apart. I can no longer be in that creative headset. I'm just trying to do as little as possible with the biggest impact so I can get done, quick, and I don't have to keep going back and touching things. And that really sucks because I want to give each client an experience and I want to give my best work. And I feel like I'm cheaping them in a way, even though the client I gave a recommended size for the Garland. The client knows that, but they still refuse and wanted to go with something else. For me, it's not about the money. It's like, okay, well, I got the money. But for me, it's not about that. It's about, am I walking away and giving them my best? Do you still take on the client? Do you refuse? Like, what do you guys think? I want to hear you guys' feedback from an artist perspective, from a client perspective. Like, if you're okay with it, like, sure. I mean, the setup was still nice. My sister loved it. For me, the backdrop was, if it wasn't as wide, I think it would, the size was still fine. Like, I think I had like 2 clusters left. Because I inflated exactly 18 feet. You guys know that one cluster of 8 balloons is a foot. So I inflated 18 clusters. Some of them are broken up into quads. So maybe 2 quads, but that's, half a foot for 1 foot. And then I had 2 clusters left and I just put it on the left side just to give it something. But ideally I would have liked to do something on both sides, maybe not the exact length, not both of the long garlands on both sides, but something else a little bit more, just to give it a little bit more oomph. But yeah, I want to hear you guys' feedback in the comments box on how you would handle a situation like this. I know for me, it's definitely not about the money. I don't know how I can avoid it in the future, but I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to avoid it again in the future, but I definitely will continue to voice my opinion when it comes to they have a certain backdrop. I'm going to let them know what I recommend, the size, and if they don't want to go with that, maybe I can come up with another disclaimer on it potentially won't look the best. I don't know, but you can't make people do anything, and especially when it comes to spending more money, which I totally understand. And then before I would just, I would do extra. Even if I had, let's just say this though, even if the client did get the size garland that I recommended for this backdrop, I didn't have the time to do it anyway. So it ended up being, good that they only got this 18 foot because I didn't have time to do anything else other than this, due to the fact of the backdrop that they had to put together when we got on site, which is another thing, because I'm a DIYer, you guys. I love to DIY, but some things I just leave to professionals, and I think as clients we have to really, I don't know, I feel like once you rent a venue, then you going all out. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I did a lot of rambling, but I hope I got some points across, and this is the final setup, so I hope you guys enjoy. Bye.